Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Alex, aka Marcus, coming at you with a video today about the ban list and the errata list, the unbanned emergency list that we've gotten. I'm going to start off by ranting about Dark Brawly, so prepare for that. We're also going to talk about the other erratas, bans, and the one unbanned that I believe that we have. One of the bans, in my opinion, is unwarranted and really stupid, but hey, I'll get to that section when I kind of rant about Dark Brawly and kind of talk about the bans. But yeah, let's get into it. So to start off with Dark Brawly. First off, this is just like, I just don't understand. This is like too far, in my opinion, because I think that the reason it got hit the way it did was because of community pressure. And I understand, and I cares about the health of the community and their opinions. And I totally get that. That does not change, in my opinion, though, and I guess it's just my sole little island opinion, that Dark Brawly is an incredibly answerable deck. And it's not acceptable to me that we talk about caring about free play as if Dark Brawly is the gold standard for what, one, good free play cards look like, and two, that we just don't turn a blind eye to all the other decks or all the other free play cards or all the other strategies that cut corners to play their cards and win games. I have a long list of cards that I'll just do it now. I have a long list of cards that are either free play, that either do absurdly dumb stuff for extremely low cost, if not at all. So let's just get into it, right? If you want to address free play, you want to talk about addressing free play, let's ban Yamcha's Merciless Barrage. Let's ban the Vegeta Prideful Transformation, Frieza Charismatic Villain, the Zamasu card that's indestructible. We could start there. Let's ban the SS3 Gogeta Unison that plays skillless cards for free. Let's go ahead and ban the 5-drop black skillless Son Goku that again plays skillless from the drop area for free. Let's go ahead and ban the Overwhelm Trunks that plays one and gives it crit from the deck for free, even though I guess the Overwhelm costs something, it still free plays a skillless. Oh, let's ban Baby Hachiyak because for Lord knows whatever reason, we get to end a turn and play a card for free. Surprise Attack Frieza still needs to be banned. How is Heartfelt Plea not banned? Like, this one is like blowing my mind. The list goes on and on and on, okay? I can talk all day about that. I mean, start banning Jiren now because we have free EX Evolves both as a promo and as a card that draws a card and minus something 10k. Oh, Spirit Boost 1. You mean the Spirit Boost that replaced itself? For free. That's free, buddy. Free. That's free real estate over there. Well, I don't know. Actually, that's +2 real estate over there. That's what that is. Oh, God, Jiren's good. Anyway, I digress. People talk about free play, and they don't think about the implications of saying we need to ban free play. And they don't think about, decks that do things uniquely, like Dark Brawly does, and admittingly, terrifyingly, like Dark Brawly does. It is a terrifying deck to play against. No questions about that. And it's one thing when you can't answer it, correct? So, for example, because not every deck has access to Bean, Protector of the People was a main staple for the last few weeks because of the new King Vegeta deck. Okay? Fair. Dark Brawly, for example, though, there's like 10 different cards that flood it. You've got Prospects, right? You've got the Vegeta United Fury. You've got Violent Rays. You've got, I mean, honestly, Heroic Prospect Trunks, Poutine, both of those will, because the advantage you get for them going either to the warp or the bottom of the deck is just negligible, so you don't swing through them. You just got, I mean, I'm not gonna list them all, but like you've got Dormant Potential, just stops the whole turn. You've got Baby Hatch that just ends the turn. You've got the new Baby Hatch like green card that just ends the turn. I mean, what are we talking about here? Like, you've got Mecha Kabura. Yeah, that little guy just says, hot, nope. Royal Condemnation hits, like, literally everything in the deck. God Sealing hits the whole freaking... I mean, there's so many things that can just straight either turn stop you or, like, wreck you or do nothing. And everyone's, like, thinking about Dark Brawly as if it's, like, pre-errata. Like, do you realize that the new errata that they just gave Dark Brawly will, like, literally axe the deck? Like, you've murdered its defensive capacity and its ability to play consistently because you've now just eliminated every single, like, now all my zeros in my hand are just terrible, right? Like, so now I have to cut down on those and consistency of playing in-house archetype cards to now go play other cards that are either not good or just, like, you force me to play better stuff, like, over there. So, yeah, got it. Also, you shouldn't have printed the Vindicator card. You probably should have banned the Vindicator card. Just saying. Like, ban that and then move on. But, like, this errata to Dark Brawly, what, like, the Realm Ravager, the Uncontrollable Berserker, and the Blocker, which was barely, if not even played in the deck, that's too far. They do not need a one-card energy cost. Now what you've done is you've said, well, you can only get one attack for the turn. In a game where we have testing the opposition, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair, right? Like my free playability and my ability to play through a game full of floodgates is just not the same thing, right? Green now has Dormant and a Boo. Green has Boo and Homicidal Clones and Dormant. Blue has Heroic Prospect Trunks. It has Babies. It has Vegeta Ready to Rumble. The Babies minion. It has also a unique card that, like, gets to the unique blocker negate, right? It has all these things, right? Red, Violent Rays. Like, need I say more? And Violent Rays is even searchable by one of the best red decks that now just honestly got nerfed, so we'll see how it goes. But it was searchable in Red Brawly, right? Like, Mecha Kabura, everyone can play Mecha Kabura. Let's, in Vegeta Universe of Fury, so on and so forth, like, let's stop acting like you should not have been playing these cards in your side or your main deck anyway. Like, I'm tired of it. I'm honestly tired of it. Like, if you think that you should go to a tournament, for example, right? If the argument is, well, I shouldn't have to side for Dark Brawly, why should you not have to side for a meta deck? Well, you see, the thing is Heroic Prospect Trunks. I wouldn't main deck it if Dark Brawly wasn't around. So you're going to let Red Brawly, any player that wants to play Gogeta, which right now is like almost any black deck, you're going to let Blue, which is playing more 20Ks by the day because of all the skillless and what's his faces, the Bojack engine, and skills Bojack and Gohan. You're just gonna let Blue play all those really high powerful cards and not do anything about it? Got you. I got you. Yeah, sure, fine, whatever. Do you? If you want to walk into a tournament and forfeit because of like 2 or 3 colors and not play that card, be my guest. You like people who act like these incredibly broken cards that you would be playing anyway. I don't know a person alive that thinks that they could go to a regional and not play Violent Rays. Right? Like, or the Master Roshi card for Dark Brawly, which that's another floodgate card that Red had access to or has access to. But like, I don't know a person alive that thinks that, yeah, Violent Rays would be a card that I would not play ever for any reason, but because Dark Brawly's around, I'm going to play it now. No. It's probably not it, fam. Like, you're going to play that card. Lots of decks are going to play the cards that I just named. Right? Like, when Sid Shenron was still around. Right? So, anyway. And because of the perception of Dark Brawly being associated with free play, like it was King Vegeta doing what that silliness was, it got axed. He took away its offensive pressure. It's not fair. It's actually just not fair. This is a severe overcorrection for a deck that was not even playable upon release. If you really care that much about the cards that it plays, make the Gogeta package limited to Gogeta Xeno. Start there. Because personally, you take that away from it, it stops becoming pretty broken. Just food for thought. Maybe you shouldn't have made Vindicator. Yeah, the card that just puts 6 battle cards back or gives you a free evolve. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't do that. Maybe we shouldn't have done that. I don't know. It just seems to me that when they took a look at Dark Brawly, they just heard a lot of people griping about a deck that, quite frankly and personally, I just don't see to be tier 0 or broken. Like, for example, if Dark Brawly wasn't as oppressive as people are making out to be right now, pre-errata, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It just almost seems like the community has a more negative outlook on how strong Dark Brawly is right now, despite the fact that, like, a month and a half ago, it was more powerful. So, and trust me, iteration adaptations post a nerf are not better at all than what they were. It's like saying that after Mecha Frieza got an errata the first time it was banned, that we adapted and made it better than what it was before. That just doesn't work, right? Like, so, I think that it would have been fair to make Realm Ravager a 1, but not Uncontrolled Berserker, and especially not the blocker that, like, barely anyone plays anyway. Like, it doesn't do anything. It's either a blocker or you swing with it. If you swing with it, it can't block. It's that simple. Like, that card did not need to have that tag on there. And if you say, oh, well, it would have been too broken because a free 30k, right? Like, yeah, but I digress to all the long list of free play cards that I listed about 5 to 10 minutes ago, right? Like, anyway, I just think that they completely overcorrected for Dark Brawly insanely, and that Realm Ravager might have deserved the tag a little bit because hitting a card from drop and hand is very powerful. Like, the look on a blue player's face when you warp their Saiyan instincts and take a card from their hand, it's priceless. And then as for, the rest of the errata The rest of this errata, 2 of these things I did not see coming. One of them was on my radar to have that deck specifically touched. So Planet Vampa and the Young Invader, the Young Invader's field spell. Those 2 I didn't see coming. King Vegeta took a severe hit with the errata to the field spell, not being able to play a Young Invader right away. That's a pretty big deal because, having to tap that energy just means a lot because of resource. And I think it also got an extra tag extension of energy to playing it on your turn as well. Like the Young Invader to your board. So, I kind of get it. But the deck is still relatively new. And again, this seems like a severe overcorrection for their lack of attention to detail the first time around trying to address free play. The other one that I didn't see coming was Planet Vampa, but hindsight 2020, I think that Planet Vampa kind of deserved to be in the same boat as Baby, just because I think that it's one of those things where power structure in your card games matter, and the foundations of your tier list matter in the power structure. So what do I mean by that? So the power structure is basically in reference to like how fast the game is, how powerful certain cards are, and what that structure looks like is the card pool that comprises what makes certain decks meta, right? So that's your power structure. And then the other part of that is that when you nerf the top part of the structure, the foundations of it that make up your tier list, when you take out the top and you nerf it underneath the cards underneath it, or the card pool underneath it, or the decks underneath it, you write like this is now the new power structure, and you just naturally bring these decks up inadvertently, even though their status hasn't changed whatsoever. It's just that the other decks got worse while your deck got better. I guess that's just a more simple way to say it. And the thing is Red Brawly was one of my chief concern decks. When you talk about nerfing a nerfing decks, period. Excuse me. Very tired. Anyway, so Red Brawly was a concern of mine after the ban list, but I think it's all the same weaknesses apply. It's a full gas deck, go Burr or go home. And not a lot more to say about it, but it got received a hit to Planet Vampa, and I talked to Josh, shouts to Josh and shouts to Gamer Dojo for a great shop championship today. It was really fun. I talked to Josh. He's a Red Brawly player. He's who I played in the finals. And he says it doesn't seem like it's that big a deal. So maybe this nerf didn't do anything. But Young Invaders, it definitely did. And this next one, Baby, the Baby hit to Planet Tuffle, that feels weird. I don't know what to think about that. That's like its own separate waters of we are gonna have to test that out and see, because I'm not even sure what to think about that. So if I understand the errata correctly, you can reduce cost cards if you don't have a battle card on the board. So that's good and that's bad. It's definitely a nerf, but does that mean they go more extra card heavy? I don't know. It would typically, could Baby design a play curve around that for its floodgates? It feels weird. Yeah, but it seems like it'd feel weird to do. So I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what the status of baby is after that. I don't know what to make of how that impacts the deck. Yeah, like I think the good news is the good of the good news is that it's not dead per se. I don't think it's dead initially. But the bad news is that does seem awkward, right? Like, so, yeah. All right, moving on to the ban cards after 20 minutes. Sorry, the long Dark Brawly rant. This is, I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna attach this like part to the free play conversation I was mentioning earlier. But like, I'm not convinced, even after this emergency ban list, that Bandai really has given free play any thought. Like I said, there's a long list of cards I could name that are played for free in this game, or cards with reduced energy cost that should not have. You still have Sen Shenron playing an 8-drop on turn 2. I just don't want to hear. I just don't care to hear that free play is like remotely a thing. There are decks that play cards at reduced cost and they are incredibly broken. Okay? Reduced cost and free play are synonymous, and just because an energy is attached to one of them doesn't mean jack squat. Okay? So for example, you can say the new Boo Unison, for example, costs 4 energy to play. But as soon as you slap that thing in SS3, that crap is free. And you ain't going to be banning that anytime soon. You're not going to ban Swap, for example, right? Like, if you want to talk about a free play, start banning Swap cards. Or start tagging energy tags like you did with Dark Brawly. I don't care. But you're not going to convince me that you care about free play and you're going to hit Son Goku, Strength of Legend or Power of Legend or whatever it is, the black 0, back 15k crit that can warp a card out, activate main, and it's got 0 combo cost and whatever. You're not going to tell me that you care about free play. That needs to be banned. And you left Surprise Attack Frieza in the game. You're not going to tell me that you banned Bardock the Resolute and left Heartfelt Plea and you care about free play. It just doesn't make any sense. But, that being said, the list that they made does 100% make me happy with what they banned. Except for the Son Goku card, and I'll get to that in a minute. I'll talk about Frieza. Belmod was dumb by card design. It should have never been made that way. I don't know what they were thinking, and thank God, good riddance. A 20k blocker that plays by just sacrificing a whole bunch of cards and then blows a card up should have never been made. Especially with Unique being what Unique is. Just didn't seem to be a very fair card to be playing. Secondly, Mercenary Tau, I think, should have just had an errata to be played in Earthling leaders only. But, and I'll talk about this when I get to Mecha. This is an example of people saying, well, it limits future card design. That is not a limitation of future card design. At least Mercenary Tau is not anyway. I'll talk about limitations of future card design and hopefully set the definition straight for people because they just don't get it. But the thing is with Tau is like, it seemed to have a pretty high cost to be able to play it. But it's like one of those things where, like, if you were winning before, you might be winning a little bit harder now. And it's kind of a card that, like, I'm okay with going. Especially given what King Vegeta just did with that nonsense. So, good riddance to that card. Good riddance to Belmod. Good riddance to Bardock the Resolute. Why you left it at 1 was ridiculous. Like, you talked about free play and then you left that thing limited. Okay, got you. Legic is still unbanned, still, whatever. But people are like, oh, Legic's fine. It's not going to do anything. Until something like King Vegeta arises again. Like, you say, you say it's not going to do anything now, but the thing is I didn't think it was going to be doing anything till about 4 weeks ago when someone was like, oh yeah, did you know that new King Vegeta deck? Or 3 weeks ago, whenever it was that they started playing this ridiculous turn 2 kill nonsense, okay? Yeah, so good riddance of that card. So the Goku card, the black one that has 0 combo cost, it's off color, can only be played in one strategy, not a color, a strategy. You want to know what the difference between this card and Bardock is? Bardock can be played way easier, right? I'm going to use these two as a comparison, and then I'm going to talk about Surprise Attack Frieza because this is what I'm talking about when I say that they don't really care about addressing free play. And if they do, they don't care enough. They just don't care enough. They didn't care enough on the first list. That's why we have to have this emergency ban list in the first place. And I'm still not going to be convinced that free play's like the penultimate goal of eliminating from the game. Or caring enough about to ban certain things and then act like hitting Dark Brawl is justified while leaving all these other insanely dumb strategies left to go about. And so, to the Son Goku card, right, and let's compare it to Bardock. Bardock is so easily playable because it can be played off keyword skills that deal damage to your opponent. If your opponent takes their own life, you have a skill that does damage to them via anyway, or a skill that makes them take their own life or crit their own life or what have you. So, like, Young Invader comes in, Bardock Resolute, I think. Not sure if there was a conflict with that. I thought that there might be a conflict with that and something else. I don't know. But critical, double strike, triple strike, quad strike. Bardock the Resolute. Okay? What's the cost of having this card? Your leader has to be red. Got it. Son Goku card? Opponent has to discard a card. Now. Here's the thing. That is not the same. That line of text is not the same thing as Bardock the Resolute. Why? Because being red as like the precondition for you to play this card versus discard, in order for the Goku card to be played, you have to be playing a strategy. And the thing is, when it comes to these free play cards, both of them, you have to think about ease of play. Right? How easy is it to play this card? Well, hand destruction is kind of at the bottom of the totem pole. One, because it's mainly limited to green, so green's card pool, albeit it did get way better with the new Boo card. The thing is like discard, that discard effect, in order to play the card, means that you're already playing a set number of leaders with a set strategy in mind. And you're going forward with that. Whereas having any red leader and any strategy, the only prerequisite is for them to do things that half the leaders in the game either do to themselves, half the card or some cards that they play in the deck do it to themselves, or all your cards could do the same thing to them. Well, see, that's a very different story. And so, yeah, let's analyze this card and compare it to Surprise Attack Frieza. Surprise Attack Frieza has the same problem that Bardock does. Okay? The only thing that has to happen in order for you to play that card for free is to KO a card. So it's acceptable to have an overall thing that every single color does. Got it. And you're trying to tell me that it's 15k crit just like the other guy? Oh, but the Son Goku Kai warps the card. Well, let me tell you about its deficits compared to Surprise Attack Frieza. Surprise Attack Frieza actually has combo cost. Surprise Attack Frieza is also 15k crit, so we'll 1 for 1 them. We'll call that a tie. Now, Surprise Attack Frieza doesn't warp a card, but it is played in Cell Surge with a chain that free plays more cards that are more powerful than it after you use it. Yay. And then to make it worse, okay, think about all the effects in the game that KO a card versus all the effects that just discard a card. All the leaders, all the extra cards, all the battle cards. Think about it. The one's gonna vastly outweigh the other. And as I said earlier, I'm not sure if I mentioned earlier, but Frieza has combo cost, right? He's a 110, whereas this Goku 0-0. Frieza is green, while the Goku is black. And trust me, no one's going to be like, I'll charge this Power Legend real quick. Yeah. Why? Because it throws your colors off. It's that simple. It throws your colors off. And so, like, that green matters. It could always matter. Whereas Surprise Attack Frieza is green. It does have combo cost. And it goes into other broken play lines. Yay. And yet, we care about free play, so we're going to ban this. Oh, but the Son Goku warps a card 4 or less. Well, let me ask you a question. What's the strategy to play the Frieza for free? KO a battle card. So the card that you warped is probably dead. So just... Oh, man. We had Zamasu's Deity's Wrath. We care about free play. We've got Frieza, Charismatic Villain, but we care about free play. We've got Cell, Xeno, Unspeakable Abomination, but we care about free play. We've got Baby Hachiak that literally ends a turn, but we care about free play. Energy requirement, discard a card. Oh, it cost me a discard a card. Well, I had to warp cards out of my drop area for Dark Brawl. You don't see energy being slapped on Baby Hatch, do you? Anyway, I digress. Yeah, that's, I think that's the end of the band. They did such a superb job with the cards that needed to be banned. Yeah, King Vegeta. Yeah, King Vegeta was a sleeper mistake. I don't know how that went under the radar the way that it did, but the geniuses who threw that together in some kind of kitchen were pretty smart. So, moving on to the unbanned card, United Symbol. Yay! For all the U9 players out there. I don't know why you'd want to play Doggos or Trio to Danger, but good for you. I think this is where I'm going to go into my final segment. We're going to talk about limiting future card design. This ties to Mecha Frieza being banned. And I didn't talk about Mecha Frieza being banned because I want to talk about United Symbol along with it. So, Mecha is one of the rare examples where I will agree that future card design was limited. And that is just purely based on the fact that it played cards that were either extremely fair given their archetype or for the color to play. And that it's extremely hard to justify... Excuse me. It's extremely hard to justify not banning this leader now if down the road later it's going to cause problems. The thing is it's almost self-evident that it will be a problem in the future. Because I'm going to compare this card to a Child's Wish, right? Child's Wish is a card that many people would argue is a limit of card design. I do not believe it is a limit of card design. It in the sense that there are many cards, battle cards that are 3 or less, 15k power or less, that you could easily look at and say they won't do anything in any deck that plays Child's Wish simply because of the fact that they are archetype specific. They require a specific leader, they require a specific color, they require some kind of specificity that limits them from being abused by that card. Back in the old days, that was not the case. They got a lot smarter with that. And the more that they've updated their card pool, they've continuously added phrases that would limit cross interaction like this from happening again. Now, that is not a limit of card design, right? That is card design with intended purpose, and there's a difference. Now, whereas Mecha on the other hand is actually a true limit. And why is that the case? Like, because if you look at Child's Wish, there is a whole host of cards that like it can't play. There's a whole host of cards that if it did, it wouldn't do anything, and you just have them in there for whatever. But Mecha that's just not it, right? Because while Child's Wish applies to battle cards, applying to extra cards is extremely different. One, extra cards are generally utility cards that are extremely powerful, right? So when you look at making an energy cost of a card, right, cheating that card, right, the energy cost on it is there as a cost to hopefully play this powerful effect. But Mecha removing that and saying, I get a card on top of playing this powerful effect, that is just wrong in just about every sense you could think about. For any extra card that is yellow that would have an energy cost of 1 or 2 without an extra clause to limit it so that Mecha couldn't touch it. That is a limit of card design. Because the reality is, extra cards for colors are generally designed to be generic. What I mean by that is Flying Nimbus is one of the most generic yellow cards you can think of. It can be played at any color of a leader as long as you have yellow to splash it with, right? You have yellow specific cards like Vegeta Final Flash that, and one thing about Vegeta's Final Flash is I do not think that Mecha, when we talk about limiting card design and like what Mecha does, I don't think that Mecha necessarily plays every extra card that is generic enough for it to play better than every other deck. I think that there are certain decks and certain strategies that might play certain extra cards better than Mecha, but overall, because he gets to cheat it out, it's going to have some type of advantage that other decks don't get to have. And so that's, again, limiting. But a good example of this is Final Spirit Cannon, which on its own, the effect is powerful enough to warrant the 2 yellow energy you'd have to pay for it. The fact that Mecha doesn't care, though, makes Final Spirit Cannon really broken. Whereas in any other strategy, it would be extremely fair. And this is a 2-cost extra card. You'd have to tap 2 energy for this effect. You only have to play 1 energy to play SS3 Gogeta thwarting the Dark Empire. Do you see the problem here? Like, Mecha would cause them to walk on eggshells anytime they wanted to tag a 1 or a 2 energy cost on a yellow extra card without adding an extra sentence or 2 in there. And that is truly a limit of card design. Whereas Child's Wish, either that text is so ingrained into the game's design, or like you just don't, you're not going to play that. Right? Like nobody's thinking, I can Child's Wish out my surprise attack Frieza. I'm going to go do that. Right? Like that's not what, I mean, Child's Wish did kind of do that with like the Bulma mech stuff, but it's because it didn't have an archetype. Now when we make cards, it's probably not going to happen. Like the most powerful red battle cards you can think of are probably archetype locked or color locked. And so that's not something that you need to worry about as much. So for this reason, Mecha truly did deserve to be banned. Good riddance. Building anything Mecha Bandai is just a mistake. I get it. You want to play reduced cost, but look at Baby. Baby still has to pay energy for their stuff, and it's still broken. I don't know why you thought making things for free was going to be good, but it is what it is. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Let me know if I missed anything on the ban list. I probably did because my brain is frazzle-dazzle fried. And if I did, let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know what you guys thought about the ban list, how it affected you, what you're going to plan to try going forward with cards. Is there anything that you feel that they missed? I don't feel like they missed anything, personally. I'll just answer that real quick. I don't think that I feel necessarily that they missed anything. I feel like they needed... Okay, that's not true. Heartfelt Plea needs to be banned. Champa needs to be banned. Kai needs to be banned. A Crack in Spacetime needs to be banned. Okay, now we're good. Anyway, and I think there's some other free play cards where I'm thinking, yeah, you probably should have hit that too if that's really what you cared about. But overall, an extremely necessary list, minus Dark Brawly, just so that, like, we could have a healthier format, because Bardock, Tau, and Belmont were just... That's just not okay. So, I also think that the erratas to the field spells were very fair, because you can't just remove the top dogs and then just... Here's the keys of the house, go have fun, right? So it is what it is. And let me know what you guys would like to see in your future ban list discussions or videos, because I think there's a lot of cards that we could still hit. So if you guys have a card too that you think would deserve to be banned that's unique and maybe people aren't talking about, post that down there as well. So that's it for me, guys. It's been a long 42-minute discussion video. Thank you for staying with me so far in this awesome TCG discussions. Signing off. Laters.